Hello, everybody. Welcome to a very special video here on the channel. It's not often that we get those in the mainstream here on the channel talking about general footy, but I had to get this man in. It's been a long time coming. David Zita, welcome to the Blue Abroad YouTube channel, my friend.
Hello, I've heard lots about the Blue Abroad YouTube channel. It's good to be here. You've made a mark.
I don't know if you know how we crossed paths. I mean, I know how we crossed paths in person, but the channel and David Zita has become quite synonymous, and we're going to touch on exactly how it all happened. But this has been a requested interview by quite some people, but mostly from me. It's good to have you. It's good to have you here.
No, it's good to be here. I'm sorry I couldn't be with you at the MCG. I was put onto a couple of trade crosses that we just dissect everything to its absolute last breath. So I wasn't able to be there, but I'm happy to be with you. And this is very, very fancy the setup you've got here.
Yeah, it's simple, but we make it work.
Yes.
I cover one team, the Blues, and that gets
Yeah.
me. I've got plenty to talk about most of the time. How do you go having to stay on top of all of the teams?
It can be pretty intense at times, but I enjoy it. You know, I really. We've got Simon Conway on. So I work AFL Tonight full time on the AFL Tonight, the nightly news program, and basically Simon Conway is our executive producer. He'll just have everything set up and say, "You're going to this club today," and then you just get back to the office and roll through all the club news. So it's okay. You just got to pick the best of everything. You know, the most interesting bits of everything. It's not too. It sounds more overwhelming than it is once you're in the swing of things. With myself and Drew Jones, who's very professional. Everything just sort of sorts itself out. But yeah, Carlton certainly a good source of conversation this season and in seasons gone by.
I was just talking about the fan cams. So yeah, we sit here after games right here, exactly in this exact format, and we do the fan cams, which is kind of like talkback radio but with video. And we have been unpacking like every single angle of Carlton. It's quite interesting.
You should get my dad on. He's a Carlton fan. So
Is he?
yeah. Oh, actually, he won't say many nice things about Carlton at the moment. I don't think I've met a more pessimistic person. Not in general, but just about Carlton in particular. I think it's sort of robbed him of his love of the club. He's extremely pessimistic and refuses to be hopeful about their future at any stage. So that's always quite the person to have as a supporter. But he's doing his best.
Mate, he'll fit right in. We've got every type of Carlton supporter. I mean, I was once the biggest optimist. I'm generally optimistic, but I can definitely relate to sucking the love of the club out of me. I always will love Carlton, but yeah, it's just one of those things. So wait, who do you support?
I don't really. It's weird. So I basically started going for Geelong when I was growing up. I met a few players and enjoyed going for them. But I feel like felt like this watching the grand final. I feel like some people work in footy and they're fine. I feel like working in footy and just it's sort of taken a bit of the shine off. Like I'm not really too fussed if Geelong wins or loses. It doesn't affect my job how I do my job, and it's fine. Like sometimes you know, you'll have run-ins with clubs, and you should be off them for a bit. They'll be off you. So I don't really. It's more work now than it is anything unbelievably passionate. But maybe I'm very content because they were very successful for a very long period of time. But it would be Geelong, I'd say, and Carlton would be clearly the second team if I had one.
Oh, David, man, we could have been onto something here. You, Dad, Blue Abroad,
No,
like
I'm
this could have been us.
I'm pretty happy with the decision, to be honest. Yeah, I had a good run. But yeah, Carlton's sort of just it'd be bloody tough. It'd be tough to just deal with the amount of ups and downs, and or just the downs, and just the sometimes the self sabotage, and just the amount of just the disappointment, like the hopes, the expectations. It's always you're always right on the cusp, and then you get injuries or something happens, and it never pans out. You know, hopefully it turns. I think it will. It has to. It has to.
Well, it's been needing to turn for a little while now. So we wait and hope. I mean, I'm the real fool here. I turned being a Carlton supporter into a lifestyle and into a career, thinking that I'd be riding the wave up at this point in time. But I don't know. I don't know if we're going through what they call it, a rebuild, a reset, a refresh, an Alt F4. I don't know what we're doing at the moment, but I don't know if this is the group.
Sometimes I think is what it is.
Yeah. But how, well, I want to touch on your journey to where you are today, because I mean, we see you on the screen. We will touch on Tribunal shortly, but what was your pathway into where you are today?
I started working as like an assistant producer on Triple M with Eddie Maguire. So there was an opportunity there that Eddie sort of paved the way for me to have a crack there, which I was very grateful for. And I worked with some really good people there. And then eventually, after doing some casual work there, got a job at SEN full time there as an assistant producer. And then from there, basically, I was there for a while. I was, I think, executive producer of the Breakfast Show for a year, which was a really insightful experience. Like I learned a lot from it. And then got a job offer from Fox, came to Fox just as COVID started. And then basically just I've been here for over 5 years now. So it's been a good stint. But then the AFL Tonight role's about a year and a half, 2 years now. But I've been in the building for about 5 years, and it's best place I've worked so far. It's the atmosphere here, the vibe, the people. It's top notch. So I love it here.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, from the outside looking in, it seems like the last, say, 2 seasons have been like really prominent for you. I mean, I noticed you a lot more on the screen, but it'd be unfair to say that these were the biggest 2 years of your career, because oftentimes it's the work that goes into the what happened before then to get to here. Do you feel like this year in particular has been, or last year has been, a real moving point for you?
I think so. I mean, I don't. Obviously, when Tom Morris was here and he was sacked, and that was obviously a pretty big thing at the time. That was pretty massive, and there was by virtue of him not being there, there was a slot that needed to be filled. I'm certainly not like him in terms of the journalistic ability. I don't think he's a different breed. But I came into that role or just not really that role, but did some more on-air stuff as a result of their having a gap that needed to be filled. And I think that certainly helped with the more TV time and that sort of stuff. I think that definitely was a big reason for that to happen. So, wish for that stuff to happen. But, companies have a funny way of, they just sort of keep going. And so I did some on-air stuff as a result of that. And then AFL Tonight, I did some stuff there and really enjoyed it. So I thought I'd do a bit more. I'm probably a bit oversaturated at the moment, I would say. I'm probably on a bit too many. You probably see me a bit too much for people's liking, I would imagine. But I'll do my best. The tribunal stuff's obviously the bread and butter, incredibly niche way to I'd say make a living. I don't get extra for it. It's a very incredibly niche way to have a little point of difference, but I enjoy it a lot. I enjoy the community, which I think you would as well, even though it can be incredibly boring and annoying. The community that gets around you is there's not really anything else like it in the footy media, I don't think.
No, I mean, footy as a sport's pretty niche. Footy Tribunal is pretty niche, but live watch-alongs and live tweeting of what's happening in the tribunal is something else. How did you get there? How did you become the tribunal guy? Like, what was the process of that?
Oh, no, we used to rotate it here at Fox when I was doing digital work. We used to rotate it. And I'm like, I'll rotate it. It's fine. Do that. And then one night I was doing, I think it was the Patrick Cripps one. The either the appeal board. I think maybe it was the appeal board. I forget what it was, but there was a Patrick Cripps one, and they were deliberating for ages, and I just said something stupid, like a smart ass that I am, and just said, I'll be having, we'll wait for the verdict while I'm eating Schnitz chips, which are obviously the best chips, or something. Some stupid comment. And then people just really liked it. I was like, okay, that's not bad. And then I just sort of kept making little asides here and there, and people just seem to respond to it very well. And I just got a lot of positive feedback about it, and I don't really know. It just sort of I just sort of thought, I'll keep doing it. Then I may as well just keep doing these tribunals when they're on, just as a little, just so I have something I can do and have as my own sort of thing. And then it just kept going, I guess. I don't know when it became a big thing. It just, I think I lost my mind one night when they took ages, and I think it just became a thing from there. I think it was the Crips thing, because that was
Yeah.
stupid.
So I don't remember the first time I did tribunal watch longs, but I know that the Crips one's been the most viewed one, right? We were sitting there for, so the
Like 3.5
appeal
hours.
went, yeah, there were two. There was the initial, then there was the
Yeah.
appeal.
Yeah.
We sat on stream that night for 4 hours, 44 minutes, and 14 seconds.
It's insane. It's insane.
And
It was
literally the only bit of information that we had were your tweets. And you're right, it became, I mean, it was obviously around the updates of what was happening inside Tribunal, but it became this community building exercise because you can't tweet every minute. So in between your tweets, we would, I don't know, talk about whatever, life, what's for dinner, travel plans. So much so that, I mean, I have to thank you, because now we rely on you to provide the updates so that we have like a skeleton for a show.
Well, that's happy to help. If you could give me some of the kickbacks, that'd be great. But if you
Well,
don't
hey,
want to,
mate.
no. It's been very. I've noticed too. There's been a massive community around it. I did a thing on Reddit, either last year or the year before, and I was honestly overwhelmed by the amount of people that that had nice things to say. I probably shouldn't really judge myself based on what others say, because that's a dangerous, slippery slope to live on. But the positive feedback and the amount of appreciation for it, and the community that was sort of built from it, means a lot to me personally, and I get a lot out of it. So selfishly, I enjoy I'll enjoy when it's a big case or something like that, even if it's boring, which they often are, because they're just legal hearings that aren't important in the scheme of things. Sorry, but like they mean that the community is just massive, and the amount of people that get involved in it. It's there's not much else. There's not much sort of positivity in the footy media, I don't think, these days, or people enjoying things that journalists do. So I think it's sort of a bit unique in that way, where everyone's sort of, yes, they'll get annoyed at the decision, but the journey's always a bit of fun, or can be very deep and dark sometimes, depending on what mood I'm in. And it's a great. I'm very thankful that it's become a thing, because I can sort of I feel very at home when I'm doing it now, which is very lovely. And I think channels like yours are obviously very important to that too. It just becomes like a cult thing. It's like an AFL underground sort of setup.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's a Carlton supporter thing, and we're just so into it, everything that's happening. And I don't know if it's every other club. If every other club's fans got on a live stream, would they be as interested in what's happening during Tribunal? But do you think there is place for either having the Tribunal like on video, live streamed, or even the audio? No,
because it's not good. But
it's not good.
people say this. I used to think that too. But I sat in one once with I was doing the footy show. I was doing the footy show. I was helping Damien Barrett out in the footy show back in the day. And I was like mini Damo, I think is what Hutchie called me. And basically, one night I went to a Basher Hooley tribunal with him, with Damien Barrett, and we went and sat down in there, and I was really excited. Like, how good is this going to be? I'm going to be at a tribunal. This is a massive tribunal too. It was the one where they brought in like evidence from like the Prime Minister or something, and it was a whole thing. And I was excited, and then but literally 10 minutes in, I was like, is this seriously it? Like, this is so boring. It's just legal hearing that's not, it's just so needlessly over the top and just silly. And it's important. I get it. It's footy, and footy's important, and people but these are people who work full time as lawyers, and their whole life is defending or running against civil cases, criminal cases, whatever it may be, and they're just trying to argue in their extra time after work whether a footy player can play this week or not. Who's most likely on stupid money compared to normal human beings, so it doesn't really matter. But it just becomes so it's footy and everyone gets caught up in it. So I genuinely, people have asked me this before. I genuinely don't think. I think people would like it or think, how cool is this for 5 minutes? And after 5 minutes, I'm telling you, the novelty wears off because it's just a legal hearing and it's not entertaining at all.
Yeah, interesting. I don't mind the legal jargon. I don't mind the legalese.
Yeah,
It's a little, I don't know. It's a little.
but you're accustomed to law, are you not?
I am. That it
Yes.
does get. I mean, to be honest, that's the closest I get to being in a hearing these days.
Yeah.
So it does get the blood going a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, to be honest, I have no issue doing tribunal streams with your tweets to
Well,
sort of go off.
I try. Well, the thing is, because I'm not like that smart, so I like to just. For me, it was like I need to just dumb this down so I can understand it, and then I'll tell people how I understand it because then I've already like dumbed it down. So it's very digestible if I do it my way because I'm doing it from a base of pretty. I don't really like. It's not. I'm not a whiz. Like I don't. I want to know. Just explain all this legal crap. Like, just what does it mean? What is it? What are they actually saying? Instead of all the big words and all the clauses, just what's this mean? So I
Yeah.
think that's I try and translate it for myself as much as everyone else, and I think that's what makes it digestible because it is incredibly obtuse and just over the top and needlessly complex,
Yeah.
as all legal hearings are. Um, it's not like it's not fun like people think it'd be fun. It's not, but I enjoy doing it because people enjoy the back and forth and the commentary, but the actual raw version of it is not nice.
Yeah. Fair. Fair. What do you make of media, footy media, and the landscape? Because obviously, I mean, we're here talking on a fan channel. You also do your own podcast as well.
Yes.
You do. You're not just a footy man. You do other sports too, and you
Yes.
have other
Yes.
interests. What do you make of the distribution of sports media, and I think more specifically here, footy media?
What do I make of it? I think it's oversaturated, and I think but no one's going to sort of dial back because everyone needs to be doing. You're sort of a victim of your own environment. So there are too many shows. There are so many shows, but like if you're not doing it, then someone else is getting your market share. Like someone else is going to have shows on when you don't have them on. So you sort of feel the need to compete. Um, and I find trade period really interesting because I don't know. I'm sure some journalists would enjoy it, and they're very good at it. It's certainly not my absolute forte. I I don't. I find it really taxing, and it can be very intense, and we just turn everything into something so big. But the issue I keep coming back to is the amount of engagement it gets is extraordinary. The numbers are literally off the charts. So people are engaging with it, and so you could say to McDonald's like, stop. What you're serving up is unhealthy. It's not. It's not good for people. It's not good. It's rubbish. It makes me feel crap. Like it's not nice. But then they just keep the number. They just keep flooding through the gates to listen to it and to digest it. So that's what the trade period is. I think it's fast food really for people, and they digest it just at will and with such enjoyment and a feverishness that you can't really. It'd be a stupid decision not to do it and not to cover it intensively because of how much interest there seems to be in it, rightly or
Yeah.
wrongly. Um, it's a big. The trade period's intense. Like it's not. You look forward to when it's done because there's just so much, and I think most people in the AFL industry would feel the same. It's just so much content. Like it's AFL media on steroids. I think for 2 weeks, and it can be a lot. But we all do it because there is an appetite for it. Whether people can say there isn't, and some people won't have an appetite for it, but the reality of the numbers suggest that there is not only an appetite for it, it is the appetite is for trade period and for trade stories and for trade rumors and for mega deals, and people just gobble it up. So
It's, mate, it is fascinating. I
yeah,
didn't really feel the power of it. I think last year was the first time. I mean, on the channel here, because we made the move for pick 3 and Jagger Smith and lost Owies and Kennedy, and it was a bit of a surprise. So the surprise factor was there, and then I think psychologically, you're playing into the imagination of the people, and anything's
yeah,
possible. It seems,
well,
even
yeah,
though most of
absolutely.
it's far fetched.
Well, I remember, I don't know who it was, who involved in trade radio, and they said the worst thing that can happen is that a deal gets done, because then it's real and there's no more. You can't speculate, you can't dream, you can't hope. It's done, and you move on. But it's the speculation, it's the what ifs. That's what I mean. People get caught up in what ifs in life, with anxiety and with mental health and with their lives. And the what ifs in the footy sense are a lot more enjoyable, because there's so much that could happen, and you could get your guy. You know, you could get 3 first-round picks for Charlie Curnow. You could shape your club. He could stay, and you could win a flag. Like it's all just, it's all hypothetical and exciting, And so I think people love living in that space, because everyone's in with a shot in trade period. All
Yeah.
18 clubs have got a shot. And I'd love to not have to go as intensively into trade period stuff as we do as a media landscape. But until people stop consuming it with like such a ridiculous amount of interest and engagement, then it doesn't make any business sense for you to stop selling something that people want to buy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really interesting way to put it. You don't strike me so much as the news breaker. Is that fair?
No. Yeah, no, that's very fair. Yeah, that's very fair.
Is that a conscious choice? Is that something you don't want to do? Or is that just something that is just where you found yourself?
I just it's a tough one. I grapple with it a fair bit, to be honest. I think I don't. I just try and do things a bit. I think there is an appetite for just straight news, like this is what's happened. Here's what this person said. Here's what that person has said. Like here's the state of play. Like here's what the overview is and where things are and what the reality is, as opposed to. But not to say that when people break news, it's not true. It is.
Yeah.
But I sort of like working in the aftermath of it. Like, all right, here's what it means. Here's both sides. Here's where everything sits, and then you have your opinion based off that. I think is my sort of thing. I know that's not uh, like the sort of done way. You're sort of newsbreaker or you're nothing. I think, which and maybe that will be my lot. But it I think there is I get told by enough people just in the street, and not that I'm getting people are going up to that many people, but there are enough people giving me positive feedback and saying they really appreciate the way that I distill things, that suggests that there is an appetite for it done a bit differently, in a different way, as opposed to the race to be first and whatnot, which is, I might be stupid because I feel like the industry maybe would think I'm a bit of a outcast in that regard, but for me, I think it's the right way I think the way I do things, I feel right doing it, and it makes sense to me. It's not like I've tried doing the news breaking stuff sometimes. It's backfired a couple of times over the journey, but I just feel more comfortable and more assured that people would engage with things and trust what you say more when you're just you try and just say, here's what this person said, here's what that person said, you make of it what you want to make of it. And I'm not at Mitch Cleary and Tom Morris and even Xander Maguire, who's coming up now and is amazing. They're unbelievably good at what they do, and I think I'm good at what I do. I just think they're different things at
Yeah.
times. Maybe that will change, maybe it won't. I don't know, but the industry's it's an interesting place.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm actually interviewing you here right now, to be honest, because I found that with you, you've always been. I mean, I've obviously met you, but before I even knew who
Yeah,
you were, I always viewed you in that light. Like, this guy's not really the newsbreaker. This is actually just the guy that's bringing me the facts. I resonate with that. My
good to hear.
whole philosophy on the content that I do, especially throughout the year, is react to the news.
Mm,
If something's reported, react to it. If something happens, react to it. Trade periods, tricky because there's rumors everywhere. So, for example, today it was the Bailey Humphrey discussion. So, a few bits here from Trade Radio and a few quotes here from certain people. So then put the video together, package it up, and then present it more as what do you think? This is what's being spoken about. Like, let's open up the discussion. But yeah, I made a conscious choice. I think I tried to break news one time. I think I said that might have been Liam Baker, maybe back in the day, was looking at coming to Carlton. This would have been maybe 2019, 2020. Didn't happen. And I was like, nah, I'm never doing that again. It's not for me.
It's
So
it's pretty, and I forgot to mention Cal Toomey as well, who's very good as well at news breaking. I think you sort of, it's sort of like I think it's just like a switchy, you have to be wired a certain way to enjoy it. Otherwise, it becomes quite mentally taxing and not enjoyable. I think it's like you have to have a certain gene to be in that, to do that, I think, because you can't, otherwise everyone will be doing it, and there aren't many who do it. I think you have to have a certain way and a certain disposition to be able to do it and do it well. And it's not right or wrong to have or to not have that disposition. It's just it requires a certain element that if you don't have it, it can be it's just like, oh, this is so intense. Like, oh my God, this is just like ridiculous. Why didn't I just say this? And, so it can be, and I think the people we have who break news, the people I mentioned, I think they're very good at it. So I think the industries or fans, as much as they will crack the shits with these people and go off at them, I think that fans are better for having them doing what they're doing, because they are providing you with things that, if someone doesn't want to share something, it's obviously of interest. It doesn't suit their narrative. I think that what they do is very important. Otherwise, you just get, everything's just PR, I think. So I try and work in a middle ground, but they're incredibly good at what they do. And I think that people probably don't acknowledge that as much as they should, because journalists don't really get much love at all, to be honest, which is people's prerogative. But
what do you find in that relationship between the industry and the fans, and then this new wave of content creator?
I think I'm probably in a very unique spot where I think most of the feedback I get is positive, which isn't the case for journalists. You sort of just resign yourself to being abused and called crap and all that sort of stuff. I think that's because maybe the way I do things is different, and it's obviously very niche. I think I've got this sort of, I operate within a different sort of sphere, and that I really enjoy doing. But I know that's not the norm. Most journalists just get smashed, and I've copped that too. But it's just a lot of negativity, and we're not going to play the victims, because I think we give it out a lot on, especially in all our endless shows we have. We give it out. So if you're going to dish it out, you should be prepared to take it as well, as long as it's within reason and not be crossing a line. I really enjoy the new content creators, the way they do things. I enjoy the way that they interact with the game, because I think it's just more emotional. Sometimes I think we sort of are a bit too regimented and like stuck in our box, and we don't really explore too much outside of it. I try and do that with the tribunal stuff, but I think just being authentic is what people would like. I think if you're just being real and honest and accepting, when obviously acknowledging if you don't get something right, or but I just think, but the content creators, like Dan Gorringe is obviously flying, Kicker Forward's really good. Like they're all type media, like they're all really I find I get a lot out of them, because I just think that community is what footy is. I think that's what footy is, like that sort of, that's a community. I like that part of footy, when where everyone sort of gets involved as one and enjoys something and has fun with it and doesn't take themselves too seriously. I think that's what is important. But again, I know it's weird for a journalist to say that, because you sort of need to be serious. But I just find that it's enjoyable to be not that way sometimes.
No, I get it. I mean, look, that's the one thing I've tried to bring as much as possible. I mean, the Blues suck, and it sucks to watch, and it sucks the joy out of me, and like, sure, but I mean, the whole journey of it all is fun. I mean, footy is meant to be fun. Footy's meant to be the thing that you tune into to enjoy, because life's stressful.
Yeah, it's your escape. It's your there's a reason I'm not doing political journalism. You know, there's a reason I'm not doing that sort of stuff, because it's just more enjoyable to footy. It is important footy, but it's also, it isn't the most important thing. It can be for 2 hours of your 3 hours of your night. It can be for when you're having a chat with mates, but it's relative to the world, and I think that it's a more enjoyable space to live within than the actual world, which can be quite not can be is quite dark, quite depressing. I think even when footy's hard, it's still it's it's a bit more fun than because you've got perspective, you've got context. It's not as serious, it's not as important as some of the things happening in the world, so you can get a bit more. It's a bit more harmless, I don't know how to explain it, but footy just seems like it's got a bit more enjoyment to it.
Yeah, no, it makes
It's a
sense.
nicer life than many other things.
Amen to that. So before we wrap up, can I just get an unbiased opinion on the Blues? Do you have anything for me? Any solutions? I'm out here searching for. Is it as simple as get everyone out of the club that doesn't want to be there? Make sure you pay off all the debts for the draftees that are coming in. Cody Walker next year, Harry Dean this year, and then just sort of start again. Like, what's your overview of Carlton?
I think they've done the Damien Hardwick model before they won the flags, where they've cleaned out a lot around the club, but they've kept the coach. So I think next year's obviously Michael Voss's year to just decide, was he the problem? Was the other people the problem? Was it just not the right mix? I think next year's a defining year. We've said that lots of years for Carlton, I know. I think Chris Davies is a great appointment. I don't have much to do with him personally, but I know from just a reputation standpoint and how the footy world regards him, he's incredibly highly regarded, and he's a very good decision maker, great communicator, and isn't afraid to make tough calls. I think he said as much in his in that interview he did with the Blues on the Blues website. I think he's a really shrewd person to have in charge. I think he's a great person to work with, Michael Voss. He'd be great with anyone, but I think he's a really good appointment. I think he's probably as big a get as a player, to be honest with you. And I probably thought that about Brian Cook too when he came on as CEO. And I think Graham Wright, obviously, you've got the right people at the club now. They're all there. It's just a matter of converting it to on field. And sometimes when there's a lot of alignment, you commit to a course and it's going to ruffle a few feathers and put some noses out of joint. But that's just on the way to, at least it's a unified vision. I think I'd be not confident. I'd be satisfied that the people there are doing everything they can to perform. And if they don't perform, it's not through lack of intelligence or trying. I just think it's through, it just isn't working, and maybe some changes need to be made. But I think the people there now won't be afraid to make those changes where needed, but won't be afraid to stand firm against people saying that change needs to be made. So I think you've got good decision makers there now, and you have had for a bit, but particularly now coming into 2026, and I think that's really important. So that's what I would be optimistic about. I don't know how many games you're going to win. I can't tell you that. I don't know where Charlie Curnow's going. I don't know what's happening, but hopefully it's a positive in the end. It all works out in the end.
The pendulum of life swings back and forth. We're currently swinging far into free agency. Do you think it'll settle down, or do you think this is not a pendulum and this is just a train with no brakes?
I think that if I was the AFL, I'd be concerned at how much the power is going towards the player in terms of their ability and the manager's ability to command long-term deals. I don't think that they're great for the industry as a whole. I need to do more. I'd need to delve deeper into it, but I think there'd be a bit of frustration from AFL HQ. I'd imagine there'd be some frustration with how not Americanized, but just how the fact that players are meeting with coaches and in season and that stuff's coming out. I know I'm not as big a buff on US sports, but I've heard there are periods where you can go after players, but also it has to be via their manager as opposed to the player themselves, and if you get caught meeting with it's a you get a sanction. So I don't blame clubs for doing what they're doing now, or managers for doing what they're doing now. I just think the AFL needs a bit more of a backbone when it comes to pushing back. And I know it's hard because the players drive the game, but I think there need to be some checks and balances put in place that aren't there currently, that I think will come in because of just by nature of how aggressively intense the trade period, and particularly this one, just the meetings and the backroom stuff, just how blasé it is. I think just how, out in the public eye it is. I think that
Yeah.
needs to be reined in. I enjoy the gossip and the debate, but I think that part of it could just be cleaned up a bit. It could still be fun and interesting and busy, but I just think it could be tidied up.
Yeah, because I mean, yeah, the US have tampering laws because they've got
Yeah.
free agency. I mean, but where we are today, we're filming this on the 3rd of October. I mean, we're talking about free agency period, fine. De Koning, Silvani, that's fine. But Kerno, Petrarca, Clayton Oliver, for example, these are all Bailey Humphrey. These are contracted players. These aren't even free agents yet. So, yeah, I don't know how you enforce it, but I think for the fans, it's interesting because the club will sell hope. The fans will buy that hope because the fans value loyalty, but the player ultimately is a human being and needs to do what's best for themselves. So the loyalty part seems to be clouded in this transaction between club and fan, hope and loyalty.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, and I think we are a bit too. I think clubs. Oh, again, I'm not there, so I can't tell you what happens. I just know that it appears that there's too much. Just my opinion is that there. I think again, player power has just gotten to a point where they'll get their way, even if it might not be a massive, reason. So Charlie Curnow, like you're obviously hearing a fair bit about him and the fact that he just wants to be at a different place, have a change of scenery and whatnot, and play somewhere else and maybe enjoy it a bit more. But I don't know. For me, it's not conducive enough of a reason. It's not good enough of a reason to warrant you being able to break a contract and still get paid the amount you're getting paid somewhere else. I know that might not be the case, and he's willing to take a pay cut. I've read some people report, but I think you make a commitment and you're on a ridiculous amount of money compared to a normal human being to do a job that is not as that is it has its certainly has difficulties, and it's intense. I'm not going to downplay it. It's just not, in the scheme of the world, it is a job that people would kill for. And the demands are, yes, there are demands, but it's not as onerous as some other things in the world. I just think sometimes there needs to be a line drawn where you're just going to have to, I get you're not happy, but like the reasons here they're not big enough for us to really warrant us blowing up our list strategy to try and accommodate you. You've committed to us. But I know that's where the mental health card gets played sometimes, and then you sort of can't really do. There's no real easy answer, which is why we keep seeing this stuff happen. Hopefully, clubs are a bit more. They just go. You know what? You're staying here. You're a professional. We're professional. We like what you bring. You like what you want the club to get better. Stay here. Get the club better yourself. Work with us, not against us. But I know I'm probably idealistic, and that's not how things actually work. And managers have a lot of power, and players get what they want a lot of the time. So that's how I'd like to see it. But there's lots of things I'd like to see in life. Doesn't mean you can get them.
That's true. David Zita, it's been an absolute pleasure. I want to thank you very much for your time, because that is the most valuable thing you can give to someone. And you've given us about 40 minutes of yours. So I really appreciate you coming on and just sharing. And it's been great. I mean, I've met you, but it's going to be great for the Blue Abroad community to actually have 40 minutes with you and meet you. So we really appreciate what you do for us, and wish you all the best.
No, thank you. And you're doing a very good job. I know I may not be as hooked into all the podcasts and content, but the fact that you're doing it full time and making a living off it is unbelievable. So I think you've got the Carlton Tribunals always tend to be the most engaged with at times. I think the Carlton community is just very passionate and always very kind. So or for the most part. So I enjoy. I hope that you succeed. I do, because the channel, but also the club as well. Both of you.
Yeah. Hey, if there's anyone from the Carlton community giving you trouble, you just send them my way. We'll fix them up.
Oh, well, just my dad because he's upset, but that's okay. He'll get better.
Yeah. What's his name?
Tony, big
Tony.
Tony, not big
Mate,
Tony. He's irrelevant, moderate
tell
weight.
Tony, bring Tony in. We'll give him a cuddle and we'll lift his spirits, hopefully.
Old school Italian. I'm not sure how much of a hug you'll want, but I'll pass on the word to him.
Please do. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate.